Hello, I'm Jim Uding from Sela Percussion, and I'm here to share an exciting product for anyone with a heartbeat, the Sela Percussion Build Your Own Cajon Kit. Father's Day, birthday, or just because, this box is loaded with fun, creativity, and everything you need to build a family cajon for years of play-along memories. So let's see what's in this box so we can build this box. So first out of the box, you'll notice that the assembly instructions are very thorough. You've got illustrated step-by-step process to build your cajon, but the cool thing is this eventually turns into a method book that includes a little bit of a background on the instrument, technique, hand positions, and exercises that represent all sorts of styles and are recorded here on this CD so you can listen to them or play along. So what a great start. So right off the top, we have one of 4 body panels. I mean, you can smell the natural wood when you open the box. So these are birch, 11 ply, 15 millimeter panels. So boy, they are solid. This is a quality cajon. You have a top and a bottom. One important thing, this is a snare cajon, and snare cajons have something on the inside to add a little extra attack and snap to the faceplate. The way that Sela gets that done is with this unique snare module, which features regular traditional wires like you'd find on a snare drum, and they sort of work the same way because they're up against the surface of that faceplate, and then they react, they jump, they snap, and react to your playing. So they also include this little foam piece that pops right in there. That can be used as a mute or just an adjustment for the sensitivity. But the really cool thing about the Sela system is that you're not committed to the snare cajon. This is not fixed inside. When we build our body and use this spacer, we're going to precisely position these 2 blocks to create the slot where the snare module fits in there. So if you don't want a snare cajon sound and you want that wide open, natural, more bass cajon sound, you're just going to reach in the backside, pull it up, pull it out, and now you've got a second sound from the same cajon. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Everything you need comes with this kit except for a power screwdriver. You can use something as elaborate as this or something like a little household screwdriver. The parts kit comes with the glue, the brush, the rubber tips, a drill bit, and a screwdriver bit for this, and then all the screws you need to attach the face and the backside plate. Here's a set of straps, clamp straps. So we're going to use these to hold the body together once we apply the glue and let it dry. Of course, you're doing a woodworking project, and woodworking projects need to be sanded. So you've got a medium grit sheet and a fine grit block. My favorite parts of the cajon, first of all, you got the thin birch backside with the pre-cut tone hole and pre-drilled screw positions. So we'll get to that. My favorite part is the faceplate, the nice wood finish, but you'll notice how thin this is, so you can just hear the tone possibilities here. This one has pre-marked screw holes, so we'll drill those with our drill bit. And then last but not least, the 4th panel, which makes up the body, and a Sela sticker, just like mine. So it looks like we have everything we need. I'm going to get organized, and we'll start building our cajon. So now that everything's out of the box, unpackaged and separated, there's just one thing I want to go over with you before we start building the body, and that is the strap clamps. Once you unroll them, make sure there's no twists. Hold one end in each hand. You'll notice that the clip opens and closes very easily. Take the opposite end, open it all the way, feed it through the slot, pull it through, release. You'll notice it locks nice and tight. Leave it wide open, make sure there's no twists, and put it aside with easy access. So now the next step will be to apply the glue. if you notice, I put a piece of cardboard down on my workbench to make it nice and smooth and clean. You can build your cajon anywhere, but I recommend protecting the surface you're working on because some of the pieces are a little heavy and you'll end up with some glue, so just keep it clean. So, to get started, what we're going to do is we're going to glue our panels. We're going to apply the glue. So if you notice, top and bottom, inside to inside, and it creates that V. So what that does is that creates a nice clean channel for us to apply our glue without getting it all over. So let's open up our glue bottles, and we'll start right here. Get it all the way out to the edge. Turn it over. Use plenty of glue. Now to do our sides. All right, so now for the assembly. Make sure your corners line up and apply the straps. We're going to fix the straps so that the latches are at the bottom end of one of the sides. And let's go finger tight, even them out. Pull it up tight. So now where we're secure, let's set it up on end and check our corners. Just make sure it's nice and flat there on the edges. So what I'm going to do is bring it up to the edge of the table to give us about an inch clearance. All right, so now we're going to come up, put our body against the cajon, and bear down on that clamp. Once you're happy with that the edges are all lined up, take my wet rag and we're going to wipe away the excess glue on the outside edges and on the inside. It takes about 3 hours for the glue to completely dry, but we're going to set this aside, let it set up a little bit, and we'll get on to the next step. While we wait for the glue to set up on the body, there's one easy step that we can get out of the way, and that is to pre-drill the screw holes on the faceplate. If you look really close, there's pinholes that mark the locations. Note, they don't go all the way to the top on both top corners, because that's a feature, a Sela feature called clap corners. So when you're playing, it leaves a little space so that when you slap those corners, you get a little extra bite. Really neat feature. So let's get that done. I have 2 pieces of scrap wood, one to serve as the base under where I'm drilling, and the other to level out the faceplate. So we'll line it up, find our marks. Once you've drilled the holes, take your fine sanding block and just knock off the little rough edges. Now that the glue is set on the body of the cajon, we can start the final steps of our construction, which begins with the installation of the blocks that secure the snare module. So we take our spacer, snug it up against the edge, slide it down to the bottom. I've chosen this to be the front bottom of my cajon. So I take a couple of screws, insert them in the beveled holes, and snug it right up to the back side of the spacer. So now that the spacer is in there, we're going to install an extra screw to serve as a stop so that when we put the wires in, it doesn't rest on the bottom of the cajon, which could cause a rattle. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure our lines using our spacer. We'll use the thick edge up against the bottom. Draw line number 1. Take the narrow edge against our stop. Draw line number 2. X marks the spot. Insert the screw about 1/3 of the way. And we're ready to go. Like I said, repeat both steps, both sides. So now to install the back plate and the faceplate. So now that we've installed the spacer for the snare module, we know that this is the front of the cajon. So to start with the back of the cajon, spin it around. This is our back plate. Set it down on its face. You've got your marked holes with beveled starts. So let's just place it on top. Try to feel that it's as evenly positioned as possible. Don't worry if some of it sticks over, because we'll take care of that with the sandpaper. Grab several screws, your screw gun, and away we go. All right, now with the back installed, let's move to the front. I recommend going slow because the front of this face is pretty soft and these screws will bite through if you go at it a little too hard. Just make them flush with the surface. So now for the finishing touches, which basically includes sanding. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap our medium sandpaper around our sanding block. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to kind of knock around these corners off. So that's really important. So what I'm going to do is just go at an angle like so. And we're just going to knock the edge off. All right, so we have rough edges all around. We've treated our corners. So let's dig in. Now that we've done the hard sanding, we're going to follow up with the fine sandpaper on this block to just smooth it out, clean it up. So now for the final steps. So let's flip it over on its bottom. We've got 4 rubber feet. We'll need 4 screws for that. So let's quickly mark where those feet are going to go. We're going to use our spacer again. So snug that right up to the corner, draw a line, from the other side, draw a line, and we'll do that all the way around. All right, there we go. Now, like we talked about in the beginning, we've got our snare module. We've got our spacers fastened on the inside at the bottom. So remember, up against the back of the face. So simply wires out, reach in, up against the back face, and just slide down until you feel them stop on the 2 screws we installed. So it's ready to go. Let's see what we got. Take it out. Bass cajon. There you go. We did it. We built our own cajon. But there's one important step left. The finish. You've got a quality handmade instrument. You can go one of 2 ways. You can run to the hardware store, get some polyurethane, some tung oil, seal that baby off, make the face pop. It'll last a lifetime. Or you can go the complete other direction. turn it over to the kids. Get the Sharpies, the markers, the paints, the stickers out, and let them make it your own. Or think like a kid and make it your own. Either way, Sela Percussion, lots of fun, lots of memories, lots of rhythm making.